The voice in your ears and the face on your screen. I'm Perfect Purvis, and this is Pro Football Sweden. We're back with a special episode today to talk about the end of the season of Super Serien 2025 season. This is our second season doing football in Sweden. So make sure to send us comments, messages, anything. Let us know how you think we did this year, and we'll continue to try to do even better in the future. Today, joining me is my co-host, Jalo Juice. What up, Juice?
What is up? What is up? Is my mic muted?
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? What's up, man? I hope everybody's having a good week and preparing for the playoffs.
Yeah. Just jumping into it. The PFS podcast is available everywhere you listen to podcasts, and you can see it visually here on YouTube, wherever you listen or watch. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Now, let's talk a little bit about football. All right, this show will be a little bit different, but we're basically going to follow the same structure. We'll do first half and second half. First half is energy. Let's talk about the 2025 Super Serien season in Sweden. What were some of the negatives and positives of the entire season? Things that you like, things that you didn't like. Of course, let's start with a couple of negatives. Juice, what was some things that went on this year that you just did not like about the season?
As I said last week, I wish they had replays for teams to utilize so that you can get the truth about what actually happened on the play. So that if there was a touchdown or if there was a fumble and things like this. Another thing with officiation is, man, there's been some bad calls, and I fully watched the full Krikonstad and
Copenhagen, the
Hagen
Towers.
game,
Yeah.
and there was like a blindside block, but it's like, bro, that blindside block was not really that serious, It's just like he was coming up and some guys got to keep their head on the swivel. Some guys got to keep their head on the swivel. You can't just be running out there and just think that you can run, because if somebody just stands there anyways, like a pick block, you're gonna get knocked down. So
I
it's
just,
like
I just want to throw I just want to throw this out here because I love that you said keep your head on a swivel. I believe head on a swivel is a life lesson. The other day, my
right.
daughter wasn't looking and she fell, and I said, "Hey, you got to keep your head on a swivel." And my wife was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "You got to keep your head on a swivel. You can't just be walking and looking a different way. You got to know what things are, and you got to have some type of like life awareness." And
You do.
football, you're on a field with people running around. If you don't know where people are or what's going on, that's on you. I think that's in life. Like I
Yeah.
I've as a person who I've as a younger person, I was a smaller guy. I never had a situation where someone blindsided me because I was playing a sport where I shouldn't have been out there. So I was constantly like, hey, who's coming, where they coming from? And I was one of them guys that I would go find a big player that didn't see me and I'd smack his ass just because, it's football. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that's how these players should be, but I agree with you. I mean, if you ain't looking, that's on you. That's part of the sport. You got to keep your head on a
Right.
swivel. And that's a life lesson, though. I think it's a life lesson. Sorry, go ahead. What else did you got?
That was pretty much the negative that I was going to just say, just right there. Lastly, early in the season, there was too many drop passes, from some of the top teams. Some of the players were kind of held some quarterbacks back from having top performances, but they did get that fixed. So that will transition to my positive. But I'll let you go ahead and say your negative.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me list my grievances. Okay. My first grievance, the video recording of the games. Every week there's something. We got some games I don't know the score. Some games are sideways. Some games last week I just lost 9 seconds of the game, and then one game just turned off on me, like stuff like that. I know it is very trivial, but it's a negative for me because it ruins my gaming experience. And as I've said many of times, I'm coming over from the Maple League. We got Rutu. We have replays. Like it's very nicely done. I can see all the highlights after the game and stuff. Like I'm trying to work with Sweden here, but it is 2025. We've got to do better. And I don't think it's one of those things where I'm upset at the teams. I'm more upset at the league because I feel it's one of those things that the league could regulate, but they don't. Because every game there's a different type of like overlay, there's a different camera crew, there's like you could tell that each team is doing what they can, so they're using their resources while the league is not really supporting them in the aspect of being able to give them a solid media resource. And we know that in this day and age, media is king. If there was better video, there'd be more highlights going out. There's more highlights going out, more people are seeing the sport. More people are seeing the sport, more chance for sponsors. More chance for sponsors, more chance for financial freedom for some of these teams. More chance for financial freedom, more chance for lower fees for players to play. Or you're able to afford better jerseys or more import players or benefits, things like that. Like it's all relative, but I think that the video coverage is so low right now. Super Serien is easily one of the top 5 leagues in Europe, and it's not professional enough to get that title. Like the media coverage is not top 5. It's like top 20. And so that's my negative. Another negative I got is the A-Town Predator gray jerseys. It's a negative. Get rid of them shits. Yes, things are ugly. They're atrocious. And my positive is going to be that I like all the jerseys in the league, but I have to go with a negative here that those just the one jersey, just the gray. I'm okay with the blue. I love the orange. Them gray joints was ugly. And it's the only ugly jersey I've seen this year. I think everybody does a decent job of having good looking jerseys in Sweden. I'm just ignoring Stockholm's because obviously they're never going to change whatever that is. So I
Need
just
to change their jersey. Stockholm need to change their jersey. Pillback, please do something about this.
like I get the color scheme and stuff, but like the quality of their jersey is just like, oh, I did. But again, it's similar to like how I was talking about like the Wassel Royals jersey. You got I've gotten used to that, so I'm like okay, and they are one of the better teams historically, so I give them a pass. But the Predators, nah, you don't get a pass, especially when you got 2 fire jerseys and then you just decide to use the gray as well. Get rid of the gray. It's just
Hey, let us know if y'all doing a situation where the coach vote which jersey y'all gets to wear. Let us know
yeah,
who is voting for these jerseys, or let us know if it's just the coach is saying, okay, you guys are wearing this color jersey. We need to know.
yeah, because something. I mean, I thought that's all they had until they brought out the orange jerseys, and I was like, you got to do it. But if you have the orange and the blue, you don't really need the gray. Like, for why you need 3 jerseys to play 8 games? I don't know. That's crazy.
I think it depends on the team that they're playing against. I mean, I guess they can always wear blue. Like if they're playing against a team that's wearing red, they can't wear
Well,
orange.
yeah, that makes sense. But again, it's one of those situations where if if you're if your away jersey, yeah, I guess so. If your away jersey is the orange and you're playing a red team, you really can't wear red. I personally wouldn't mind seeing blue. I don't mind dark and dark colors if they're not the same hue. Like if you're wearing blue and another team's wearing red, I'm fine with that. I don't think one team has to wear a white color, but I don't know the rules. Also, there might be some rule stipulations, and if that's the case, why not do a white jersey? It don't have to be gray. Or if it's gray, I guess find a better color of gray. I don't know. Or make the orange and blue different on it. Something. But either way, that's my negative. Them ugly jerseys. My last negative goes again towards like the entire league more than it does like a team or anything. Is the stats. I know the Super Serien and Sweet 3, I don't know if they're like connected or whatever. Super Serien does a really good job of getting everything up, and it's Thursday and all the stats are up, and I get that, and it's cool. And I've said it every week that we record on Monday only because this ain't our full-time job. I know some people have said like, hey, why don't you just record later when the stats come out? We don't know when the stats come out. That's the thing. It's sporadic. It's not a schedule, and we schedule to record every Monday because that's what works for us. And our this is my free time. This isn't me doing this because I get paid for it or anything. But also those stats are available. They're just not out yet. The stats are available right after the game. There's someone at the game taking the stats. It's not like they do the stats 2 days later by watching the game. They take the stats at the game. It's just the process of getting them online takes so long. Now I'm gonna throw this out again. In Finland, the stats are live. as you're watching the game, you can watch stats. I have guys on the AFF podcast, they don't watch the games live, but they keep up with the stats live and then go back and watch the video later. I don't know if that's possible, but I really feel like Finland isn't that far ahead of Sweden in technology and finances and economy and life. But I mean,
Finland,
again,
Finland. I know when I'm in Sweden, a lot of the Swedish people, like even my friends, they hate to visit me in Sweden. I say in Sweden, they hate to
in
visit me
Finland,
from Sweden to Finland, and they gave me this stigma before I came to Finland, like, Finland's so trash, the language, blah blah blah. But now since I lived here for several years,
yeah, it's
the
different,
Finns,
huh?
the Swedish speaking Finns, when they go to Sweden, they're like, they're so slow with this. They just log on, you can do whatever as you want, and I do believe personally from living in both countries for a long time, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Finland does things in a better way systematically. Uh,
I
I
agree.
do. Honestly, I think they do.
I
And I'm
think
not
it's
saying it's
one
because
of those.
I'm a Finn. It's just I love Sweden. Like Sweden is almost still
Yeah,
feels like home, but
it's
Finland.
just again when we're talking about like organization, timeliness, and things like that. It's just Finland is doing it a little bit better in sports in general. And you can look at different sports as well. And I just think Sweden might want to take a page from their book. Now, again, I'm not talking culturally. I think that's one thing that when you're talking about like living in the two different countries, culturally, I mean, I'm even more at home in Sweden than I am in Finland, but that's a whole separate thing. I'm talking about my negatives here, and my negatives is stats coming out so late. It's just it ruins how great this show could be sometimes that we don't have stats, because if we had stats it'd help us be able to talk a little bit more about some of these players outside of saying, oh, he did great. He was doing his thing, like we'd be able, like, he had 6 catches and that shows that he was doing great, stuff like that. But yeah, that's negatives. I think we're good. Let's go to the positives. What are some of the positives from the season for you, Juice?
Starting off, man. Some guys had some swag this year, and I love to see
Mm-hmm.
swag players on the field. You look good, you play good, you feel good, etc. To you dominating on the field. If you're not number 11 for Brew, he looked good last. Nah, but I think he'll have a good playoff run. Hopefully, negative. Sometimes you have bad games. Give you a wake up call, lock in the next week, you do well. But um, like Will Sewell last week, he was looking a little swaggy. I didn't get to mention uh, all the other guys. There was another guy who gives a little bit of credit. I don't know if you noticed the guy number 8, he had all these little bands on the right side of his arm for Konstad. I was like, you know what? I'm not a big fan of like the bands, but he kind of made it look good. So I'm gonna leave it at that. One thing I was really impressed about, I sometimes I like to watch the QB position, but since I played it a few times, I watch it a lot more. And I'm working with one of my friends here who played quarterback, and I'm not a quarterback at all. So don't think that I can help somebody out with this, but I know the basic fundamentals of what I see is good and what I know is bad. And I've been watching so much good football QB play, and I'm really impressed with the Swedish quarterbacks like Mats Lambert, even Tiriso, backup quarterback, even having the confidence to just, throwing the ball downfield and putting the ball in the right place. And, and Thick Vic, very impressed with the quarterback play this year. The American quarterbacks, they did really well. Love their pocket presence, Um, so I'm really impressed with that. And I would just leave that at that. Whoa, and last other thing, there's been some Swedish talent too that's just been stepping up, especially like on the Tiriso organization, Karlstad organization. You always see like Slade Jarman getting the ball to so many different receivers. Some guys you see that came from the past came back to start playing football, and some young guys that have been playing quarterback like Alvin Forsman, just being a dog at receiver. So I'm really impressed with like guys, stepping up, and you also see it on the defense side of the ball as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of piggyback off what you just finished with so many guys stepping up. One of my things that I see as a positive in this league specifically is the composition of players on all the teams. There's not a lot of like, oh, we only have a couple of good players, or we only utilize these players. For me, like we're coming up with like an all-star list and stuff, and it's hard for me to like find specific players because most of these teams utilize everyone. they don't just have like one or two good receivers and get them the ball 100 times. Like you said, like Slade Jarman, he passes the ball to a little bit of everybody. Tiraso has rotating receivers and everybody's getting a touch. They have 3 running backs in the game. Who else? The what is it? Limham. They have 3 running backs playing in their games. Like everybody is utilizing players, multiple players on both sides of the ball. Tiraso has like 18 linebackers according to the stats. I was looking at the stats and they was like, he's a linebacker? Oh, he's a linebacker? Like, I don't know, it's crazy. They got like 3 linebackers that are somehow in all the stats, and they're rotating guys at the defensive back position. Their defensive line is constantly changing people. And then you got Stockholm defense that hasn't played well, but they've tried a lot of different guys. I think that's a positive because everyone is getting some experience, so everyone is getting better. And that leads me to my next positive is the actual competition in the league. I think it's fair to say this is one of the there's a lot of parity in this league if every team can beat every team. Like you look at the top 3 teams, they all beat each other. It's not like one team got beat or one team has 2 losses to the same team or something like that. And then when you look at the teams that are in the middle and to the lower end, similar situations. The only team that didn't really overcome and get an upset win was Copenhagen. Everyone else can look
And it
on
was,
their
and they should have. They should have.
they almost did. Yeah, they almost did. So everyone can
They
look at their
lost that game. They
yeah,
lost that game.
win or loss, they definitely lost. So everybody can look at their season and say, at this point in the year, we were not supposed to win this game, but we overcame and we did win this game. And for me, that means anybody could win it every week. And that's the main cause for football being such a great sport is that any given Sunday/Saturday, you can get it. And that's what this league did this year. Now, last year, I don't believe that was the case. I believe we knew who was good, who was bad. This year, I
Mhm.
mean, going down to the last week, you really just didn't know how it was going to shake out. I mean, it could have went other ways. What was the AIK and Oslo game, right? Like Oslo
Yeah,
could have won that game.
yeah, for
Like
sure.
it could have went that way. Like that's how close it was. And shout out to Oslo too. That's one of the positives I should have threw out here is that the Vikings had a weird season to me. Early in the season, it just didn't look like they was ready, and like they flipped a switch at some point. And I know they didn't get the wins that they wanted to get, but they were ridiculously competitive towards the end of the year. And again, they could have won that last game and had an upset. It just shows that the level of play in the league is rising and it's everyone's rising together. It's not like any one or two teams are just, oh, we're getting good. No. Every time someone wins or lose, both teams are getting better. And that's making the league better. And I really think that's a great positive for this year. That's it for me on positives.
Yeah, I mean,
So
give some credit to the coaches too, because there's a lot of comeback wins, and so many games where one team was leading, then the other team won the game this year, and we saw that late in the season. Even the Cook Kronstadt game, that was like a back and Cook Kronstadt Copenhagen game, back and forth.
yeah,
But and the players, they're the ones on the field getting the job done. So for them to execute what the coaches have them do, or the players just playing better at that time, I don't know. They stepped it up, but man, kudos to both players and coaches, which makes the team.
yeah. Overall, it's just really good football. So I love that. All right, second half. We just want to talk about some of the top performers of the year. There's no like rhyme or reason to this. There's some guys that we just want to throw out their names. If we can get their stats, pull up their stats, see what they did, talk about them, and just kind of give some guys their flowers for a great season this year. Because we know after this, we're going to be full like playoff mode. So this is the time for us to kind of talk about guys who had a great season, who maybe they're not in the playoffs, or maybe that's not what we want to talk about them for. Juice, do you want me to start off, or do you have anybody in mind that you want to talk about?
How are we going to do this? Are we going to go by position, or are we just going to go about?
I think we go by position. I think that's the easiest way. We go by position, name a couple of guys that stood out, and then move to the next position. Sound good?
Yeah. Yeah.
That way
I want to.
we can use the
Yeah, I want to start
stats and
off with the.
stuff too.
Yeah, I want to start off with the D line because that's one position that we haven't get enough credit to. And I'll just go off of just really just two guys. Like one guy from Core, Gustav Raz. We haven't given him enough credit because a lot of the work that he does go underneath the scene, but you can see his explosiveness. Several times, and that's something that I never really gave credit to because I have it listed on my notes, but I just skip over it because I'm not looking at my notes as I'm speaking all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I gave credit to the dude Caesar. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Winston or Winnes.
Win some, lose some. I don't know, but
But whatever,
that's what.
that guy has been balling, and he getting off the edge, and he just gets off so quick, and it's just like when I look at his profile photo uh on the Swedish Super Serien, I don't think like he looks like some tough guy, but this guy is
What
balling.
confuses me is I looked up his stats today, and first of all, they have him listed as a linebacker, and I'm like, who the hell? That's what confuses me. I was like, why do they have him listed as linebacker? I guess because he wears number 44, but the dude is a rush edge. That's all I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
But
that's how I see him every time too.
yeah, but just to throw out his stats, he has 42 and a half tackles. He has 12 and a half sacks. I mean, 12 and a half
Yeah,
sacks on the season, 5 forced fumbles, and 2 PBUs.
yeah. I
That is
mean,
insane. In
right,
8 games, he has 12 and a half sacks.
right. And and I was thinking because Malcolm Instrom hasn't been playing, I don't
Mhm.
know what exactly happened. Maybe a season injury, or he's coming back for the playoffs. Don't really know because we know Malcolm to be the dog. He's been doing it since
Yeah.
I've been playing with him in Stockholm, and he's been doing it. I thought he was going to be the one carrying the team because I didn't know how good Tiraso was actually going to be after they got smacked by Costa early in the season, but then they showed they're a promising team. However, Caesar, he has stepped it up for Tiraso. Came out of nowhere. Never heard of this guy before this season. So that's a credit I want to give, to his D line. I would just say those two. There's other guys like Evan Johnson who got sacks and guys from other organizations, but those two guys on the D line I really wanted to get some flowers to.
Yeah. The only D lineman I was going to say was Caesar, only because there's such a, like, there's a lot of players rotating on a lot of these teams, and I honestly just can't keep up. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I wish I could, but I don't know them nearly as well enough to like keep up with who's doing what. And then again, there's no names on the back of the jerseys for a lot of them. That just makes it hard for me because I see numbers,
yeah,
but then I forget the number and I don't have anything to relate the numbers to in my mind. So then I kind of just forget about them until I see them again. So I mean, I'm not sorry for that, but it is what it is. Let's go to if we're a D lineman, let's go to linebackers. Who did you like at linebacker this year?
I mean, the linebacker position. There's a lot of people at the
There's a
linebacker position.
lot. Here's my
Yeah,
question. It like how is there so many linebackers, or are are a lot of these guys straight linebackers, or do we have like some like nickel back guys as well? Because like here's a couple guys that to me, I guess they're linebackers, but I feel like they might be more like an outside linebacker, like Edvin Johnson from Orebro. He's a linebacker. Is that
yeah,
true, or
he's a linebacker, bro. He's a
he's a
linebacker
linebacker? Like
for
I
sure.
feel like he's in space a lot and in coverage. And but also I looked at his stats and he has 6.5 sacks. So I guess he is a linebacker. But he also has
Yeah,
4 PBUs. So I'm like, and
yeah.
then
I mean, when it comes to Arab Brew, I mean, like they always really funky with blitzing. I don't know their defensive scheme, but they
here,
always do a good job disguising blitzes. Coming from the linebacker, like it can be any of them. It can be Murphy coming off the edge. I've seen it for
yeah.
several years. So he's a linebacker to me. If they put him as an
Okay. Yeah. I'm
end
just
or something like that, he's a linebacker.
no, they put him as a linebacker. It's just I don't know why, but every time I see his name, I just assume defensive back. I don't know why I thought he was like a nickel or a safety or something. And again, like when on the field, I'm not watching him pre-snap. I'm really not. But I see 23 around all the time. I see him around the ball, and that's what I'm looking at. Is okay, he's around the ball. That means he's getting there, but I'm not seeing his starting spot. That's why I was asking because I really haven't like zeroed in on the linebacker core. And again, can't tell their jerseys actually. can't tell the numbers a lot of time because there's also a number 33, a 32, and the 23, and then there's a 3 for Orbroot. Like all those numbers get confused to me because they're all flying around. But again, who else did you have at linebacker? Oh,
Yeah,
if
gonna
you
go
only,
like,
how about this?
yeah.
If you only can name two,
Well, all right, then I'll still attack it like this.
yeah.
Well, the linebacker group that impressed me the most is Carlstad linebacker core. You know what I mean? They're
Mm-hmm.
really dynamic. We already know who the leader is, Matthias Eriksson, and Tirso linebacker core. Tirso linebacker core is very dominant. We already know who is the leader over there. But the thing that I was thinking about this, I was like, man, which linebacker group is actually better, Tirso or Carlstad? You know, I think when it comes to straight physicality, man, I do not want to get hit by a Carlstad linebackers group, especially, with the ringleader. However, when I look at Tirso, they just so much, to me, just a bit more athletic, can play in space too. And quite frankly, this time they look a bit disciplined, you know what I mean, and sometimes. So I would just stick with those two. If I had to give like two, I'm not going to say two players. I'm going to say group because they play really good as a unit.
Yeah. And I feel like there's like 2 linebackers or 3 linebackers for each group as well. So that's like 6. I agree with you. I like both of those groups. Tirasol linebackers confuse me because they're just, again, I feel like there's a lot of them. Karlstad, I'm more, again, I like Erickson, but also like, what's the other guy? Is it Ludwig? Or
Gooding,
there's another 40 number. Like, I'm trying to remember what number
I
it
think
is.
Gooding, Alex Gooding.
Could be. I'm
He's
not sure.
he's been having some good games.
Yeah, defensively, a lot of the times I can't tell who is who, but I see this 40, but it's not Erickson. I know he's 42, but there's another like 4 number that I see that makes a lot of plays.
Alex
Shout out.
Gooding is number 40. He's number
Okay,
40.
okay, well, number 40. There you go. Then that's the guy. Then, yeah, he's great
Yeah,
as well. I do want to throw out an outlier that I think kind of went under the radar, but should be a little higher this year, and that's number 4 from AIK. Joshua Akina, man.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I feel like on their team, their defense is very like hit or miss. Like they have some like holes, but then they got a couple guys that come in and make plays. And Akina is like the one guy that he's made more plays than I thought he was going to make. And I already think highly of him. But he made a lot of tackles where I'm just like, I did not think he was going to be the guy to get to the ball first. I didn't think he was going to take that angle. And so he kind of, in my opinion, he played above his position this year. And that's what helped AIK be so competitive. Is defensively, they had a lot of really good holes. Those
He
like
scored.
they gave up.
That
Yeah.
Stucco game, that Stucco, and that hit he put on Sanai too. Woo. On that sideline, I don't know if you remember all that. I remember all these.
Yeah, he did it with gravitas as well. Like he was making some plays where I feel like their defense is beatable, obviously, but there's times where like they needed stops and he was there, and it's a credit to him that he was able to make some of those plays. And again, whenever I think about him, I always think like, okay, he's going to be good, but he this year, him and Matthias Eriksson played great, and it's crazy to me, especially playing for AIK. I feel like it's much harder to be great on that defense, but I think he played great. I guess if we're gonna stick with defense, let's go defensive backs. I want to give a shout out to DK from Tiraso. Still can't say his name, so I'm not even gonna try to say it. But he did have 5 interceptions this year and 11 tackles. He had that pick six as well. But him and what's the other guy named Sebastian Johansson?
Yeah. Sebastian. Well, Sebastian, I don't even know if he's locked down,
Yeah, but Sebastian is a little bit different is because he doesn't get the interceptions and PBUs as much as anybody else because you don't throw that way.
He's just locking it down. Like when they are throwing the ball his way, they're just not getting completed, So that's one special, and that's why I think Tiraso can, we're not talking about playoffs, can take Eric Brew. It's because he can handle his own. But I mean, so many good DBs, not that what we always talk about Tiraso. They probably think that I'm a super fan of Tiraso,
I'll say it again. Let me say it. Tiraso is the most talented team in the Super Serien. It is what it is.
I mean, because they always get these little playmakers, flying around. Very obviously. I'm disappointed in the DB play when it came to Stockholm this year. Just very, very,
Man,
very, very
I ain't,
trash and really low. Hopefully they
I
step
ain't,
it up, get some better players. But Ellen Quist, you know, did a good job. Roy Kelly, he's not getting enough credit. But this last game, most guys probably didn't see his pick and toss it over to his teammate. But I got to give him some credit as well. When you have a good D line and you're a dynamic player, you're not getting the ball, you're not getting targeted as much at the safety position. I'm dealing with that now. In Sweden, um, there's this one guy. You probably don't see him too much, but I just want to give a little shout out to him because he's my guy. His name is Kai. He's from the South Plain of Malmö. Uh, shout out to you. But there's been some guys I believe that are that are there. Like there's some guys who show some glimpse of things, but they just not getting the picks. Like one question that I thought about. I thought DK was going to go up in interceptions this year, but it kind of just got stuck at 5. I thought he was going to just take off and just lead it the whole way. But I think the DB play was decent. But I think more teams need to get more picks. Maybe it's the QB play. The QB play's been so good that we're not seeing as much interceptions. So. Uh,
yeah, you said that earlier. You said the QB play is really good, which means it's going to be much harder to get picks. Also, I think we got to throw out there that some of these linebackers have been getting picks as well, which
True.
is that might take away from some of these safeties getting picks that normally they would have gotten. Then you got guys, you have more guys in cover sometimes too, which means somebody got to catch it, and it just might not be the guys that we normally expected. I know I see a lot of interception stealing also sometimes, especially if it's a bad throw. So you got to just know who's going to get it. But I think the
Oh, you mic muted. You mic muted, bro. You mic muted.
I don't know why my
Do
mic muted. Yeah, I think the defensive back play has been okay. I wouldn't say great per se, because like you said, the QBs have been playing really good. But what else? That all the defensive positions? Which is deep
it.
back.
But two things that I wanted to say that I noticed with physicality of defensive player. Number 11 from Carlstad, I already mentioned this, but another guy we haven't given credit to, he played in Stockholm last year. I think his name is Enoch. That boy, number 6 from Carlstad, that boy loves to hit. He kind of reminds me of a Carl Joseph. I saw him pick up the quarterback from Copenhagen Towers and just like slap it. You can hear the crowd going like, "Ooh!" I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a little Carl Joseph." And he's trying to stick guys. He tried to stick Will Seal as well when they played against Oslo. So I love he liked to put his nose in there. You know what I'm saying?
There's also the DB, the cornerback from Copenhagen. I liked him a lot. The one that has the, I think, brother. They have the same name, last name, like Manzati or whatever. I think it's number 7 or 17, the cornerback. I haven't seen Copenhagen play in a couple weeks, so I haven't watched them. I didn't watch the last game against K Town because I knew how it was going to end. But he's done a really good job. He was impressive to me. I've seen him make some plays in situations where you're going to be getting attacked all game on that defense, and he's been able to hold his own and make a couple plays. Oh no, 23. That's what it is. Number 23.
Yeah. So his name is Victor Manzati.
Yeah, 23. Right? Yeah.
Manzanti.
But
And his
yeah,
brother
is
22, Matthias.
yeah. That's the running back. They're both really good players. I like them,
Yeah.
but just want to throw it out there. We're not ignoring Copenhagen out here when we talk about these players. But let's go offense then. Let's go to quarterback. We were just talking about. Let's go to quarterback play.
Man.
I will start because
Okay,
I'm gonna
go
throw
ahead.
this out here because we've been talking. I believe Miles Richardson best quarterback performance of this season. Now, when I say that, I want you to listen. I want to go from performance based. If I look at what Miles Richardson did, I'm gonna throw out his stats. He 50% completion percentage, led the league in passing yards, 1878, had 21 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. That's decent enough for me. But what sets him apart to me is the 579 rush yards and eight rushing touchdowns. He was like number. Let me look at these stats thing. He was number 3 in rushing and number 1 in passing. Like that's crazy. And then he completed 50% of his pass, so he was easily worth more than 80% of their offense. Mm-hmm. And they made the playoffs. He willed them to the playoffs, and I think that his performance this year has deemed him probably the best quarterback in the league. And when I say that, I do know that you're going to name some other guys. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback. I'm saying he has the best quarterback performance of the 2025 regular season.
All right. I'm going to take over. I like Miles Richardson. One thing that you can clearly see from his gameplay, if you watch all the games, you turn on the tape, you watch him, that he's going to do whatever he has to do to make his team win. Whatever he has to do. One thing that I like about, that I've seen in the quarterback play between him, Jay, and a few other quarterbacks, even Brandon, was showing it, is their pocket presence. But I think, it was Miles Richardson. I mean, there was some place last game where I thought he could have put the little finesse on, but he's probably tired from doing all that extra running he had to do to make that comeback win. It's just, how they can get around the pocket and, the leadership skills that you can just see it. Like, you may not know him so well, but you can just watch the football and just know that he definitely is a leader on the football field and he's doing his best to lead his team. When it comes to Slade Jarman, I think he's probably one of the most efficient quarterbacks. Like you can just turn on the tape and just see it. He gets the ball to everybody. He's leading the team as well. And, you couldn't ask for anything better than that, besides the ball looking weird as it comes out his left hand, but he's efficient and he's definitely one of my favorite. He's definitely a top quarterback than the last one, talking about Jay. Jay's like the most probably exciting to watch because he just, with his little back pedal like this, and just sit there and just chug the ball downfield, and his arm mechanics look amazing. I ain't a quarterback, I know I talk about Jay Slauman. Jay gets the ball there every time. I don't care how weird it looks coming out of his left hand, he gets the ball there. But Jay, he has Patrick Mahomes-likes efforts, and even Slade Jarman done the same thing. He has some Patrick Mahomes. Like, he just don't see it all the time because he's just so efficient, just getting the ball out quick, and moving. And all three of them, use their legs, but mainly the two, Slade Jarman. I was surprised to see, it looked kind of weird when I saw him running down the sideline against Brew. And I was like, bro, ball in the left hand too, just running. And, and I love that.
He gets it out faster than everybody else too. Like, if you look at Slade Jarman, a lot of his throws are really quick. He gets it out, he's done, and they're moving. So he doesn't have to like hold the ball or run. And also, I think his O-line protects better. You rarely see him having to scramble like these other guys who have to move around a lot.
That's true. But I'm gonna end with those three, and those the top 4 that's there, but I'm gonna end with those 3.
I'm gonna throw out one more. I'm gonna throw out Max Lampert from AIK. Okay. And I guess it's more like an honorable mention more than anything, because I feel like he played really good this year, but he's not on the same level as guys that you just named. He's just not. But he was really impressive at times. Like, there was a couple moments in games. I mean, that one 4th down quarterback draw that he scored a touchdown to win one of the games, that's crazy. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. I don't know if that's the play design or if that's just him being him, but that's crazy. And he had those type of moments. And
that was Max being him.
Yeah. Max being Max. But I just want to throw out there that, like, from last year to this year, last year was my first time seeing him at quarterback, watching him play last year, and then watching him play this year. Last year, I would have said, okay, y'all need to go get y'all an import quarterback because he's not it. And they had him and another guy playing quarterback last year, matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they weren't even sure about him. This year, he's been the quarterback the entire year. He's been the leader for that offense. And the offense just kind of went through him. Like, when they have good games, he has a good game. When they don't have a bad game, he has a bad game. And that type of command on the offense is impressive. I just want to say, like, he might not have been like the top quarterback this year, but he's definitely on the cusp. And it's going to be great seeing him if he comes back next year for AIK because they can do some big things. They put some parts around him. Let's go to running backs next. Who stood out to you at the running back position? I think I only have two guys that really stood out.
Honestly, I got two guys as well, but I can give a third. Starting from the bottom, I can give some credit to Tim Schultz. I know his role is a little bit different being a call stat.
What? Tim Schultz is my top guy.
But I mean,
he started at the bottom.
It's just the numbers, it's just a little bit different. And
look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. I got the numbers here. Look at the numbers.
All right, but listen though. The reason why I say this is because, the two top guys that you see is JB and Double V.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is they and their system, they rotate the ball between a lot of different running backs.
True. Yeah.
For Erbrew, if JB was to get all the stats, he probably had 1,000. If he get all the carries. But they rotate between Johnson, they give him a break, then they put some other guy in. Then Tiderso brought some guy number 20 in, and he opened the game off with a touchdown. It's like, bro, where's Double V at? Oh, we want to see
that
Double
was crazy. Yeah, he started the game and scored a touchdown. That was crazy.
I'm like, where's Tiderso just finding players, bro? Like, they just finding guys in the gym like, hey, bro, you move kind of decent. Come play football. I don't know where they finding guys, bro. So that's why I say it's a little bit different because I think the same thing with Double V. If Double V took all the carries, they got Devin Hall or whatever you say his last name, very explosive. They trying to share the ball with so many different people. But then again,
can I debate it real quick? Just give you the other side of the coin. I get what you're saying, and from one side view, that makes sense. But I think that what we're missing, and I wrote it down here in the stats. I'm glad I looked at the stats. Is when you look at Tim Schultz, you look at a guy who, he's the only running back on a team that passes, on a team with Slade Jarman passing to 4 other receivers. And then you look at the stats.
I was going to say the same exact thing.
But look at the stats also is I'm looking at, Jacob Brazina, 700 yards rushing, 120 receiving. That's like 900, close to 1,000 yards, something like that. And then look at Double V, 600 yards rushing, like 100 receiving. It's like 800 or 900 right there. And you're looking at, both of those guys, there's other people coming in, taking a couple reps here and there. They're each averaging over 6 yards. You look at Tim Schultz, only 500 yards rushing. You're like, oh, no, he's the only running back. Why not so much? He has 38 receptions and 380 yards receiving.
Yeah, they do a lot of screens. Screens count as
what I'm saying is it's offense. And I'm saying, like, he doesn't have the rush yards that they have, but he has a 6.5 yard average. He has 38 receptions, 380 yards receiving. His total yardage is still around 800 or 900 yards. Like, he still has similar stats to them. It's just in a different way. And he doesn't have the chance to touch the ball nearly as much because their team is passing and their team and Carlstad is usually up compared to what OBK and TSO are throughout the season. And all I'm saying is, like, if you look at that, Tim Schultz is a top 3 runner and also a top 5 receiver in receptions in the league. And I know some of those are a lot of screens and stuff like that, but reception is receptions, stats are stats. And what I'm saying is, like, Tim Schultz is a little bit more of an all-around running back because of that, while these other guys are on kind of like running back committees, which means someone like Double V, he's getting carries taken away from him, but also he's not on the field as much. He has more legs, while Tim Schultz is also in to pass protect. He's also running in between the tackles. He's a 3-down back. And again, I'm not trying to compare them like to this point, but I'm just saying that I think that all 3 of these guys give you some of the best running backs that you'll see in Europe. Let me throw that out there too. I think all 3 of them give you some of the best you'll see in Europe. You could put all 3 of these guys on like an ELF team or any other league, and they would still give you similar stats.
For sure.
So that's my argument. They're all great.
No. When you factor in all those things, Tim Schultz, he is being utilized in the passing game. He's efficient there. He's catching the ball. He got receiving yards. Just Double V and JB, like their style of playing is very similar. I think that JB just probably a little bit more he can run you over a little bit more than Double V. But
Yeah.
with the cuts, man, JB, the past weeks, you see that he's a damn good running back. Double V, same
I
thing,
think
and we give credit for
I,
cuts.
I think with Double V, I feel like out of everyone, he's the only one that's really getting a disservice. It's because we assume that he's the best running back on their team, and they don't really. I feel like they don't treat him like he's the best running back. And I don't know what the issue is with Tiraso in that aspect. I don't know if they're trying to develop more running back, blah blah blah. But if they were to give him the attention that he needs at the running back position, I think he'd probably be the best of the group. But we're never going to see that if they're constantly like taking away his carries like that or splitting time pretty much.
Yeah, but I think what Tiraso is doing is good. They need these other guys need to get experience on the field too.
I think it works for them. Yeah, it works for them. That's what I'm saying. Like for him,
and they win
it. They're winning. It's a team sport. I mean, him individually, I think that they're leaving a lot on the table because they're not utilizing him to his full ability. But also, there's probably something going on behind the scenes that they have a plan. And, do your thing. It's fine. But
maybe he has a bad attitude.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I assume they got some type of plan. So let's go to wide receivers.
This is a tough one right here.
Okay, because I guess we can go with there's like 8 wide receivers. Give me 3. Give me 3.
That's hard, man. Three is too hard, bro. But
let me give you 3. Let me give you 3 so you can think about 3. So you can think if my 3, and if I give 3, your 3 don't have to be in my 3. How about that?
Okay.
So then we technically can get 6. All right, my 3. Cool. I'm gonna go Josh Hicks from AIK.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's the driving force of that offense, and they even had the one game where he didn't score the touchdown a long run, and they didn't score. And I was like, if he don't score, they probably just don't know how to score. When they played Tarasola one time, so that's the type of impact he has at receiver. He had 48 receptions this year. I think he led the league in receiving yards at 5 tutties. He also does the jet sweep for them sometimes. He's a great yak guy. He's great with the ball. He can make yards afterwards. Easily one of the top receivers in the league. Next guy I'm going to throw out. I know some of these guys you're going to have on. I'm going to go Lou DeBow from Predators. Yeah, I took him from
Yeah, that's cool.
Because I'm just going to say it like this. Number 12, that's the offense. Yeah. I couldn't tell you nothing else besides number 12 and Miles Richardson. That's pretty much it. At number 23, but at running back, but his season wasn't that great this year because he didn't wear orange gloves. I told y'all. He just didn't. If he would have worn orange gloves, he would have had a better season. But Lou DeBow, he was the receiver. And you knew it. After a few games, he just really showed out, and he continued to show out. That's what's crazy. Is that I'm looking at his stats. He had 600 yards, 7 touchdowns. And I'm just thinking, halfway through the season, I knew he was the guy. Why was he not being stopped? He has 44 receptions. That's a lot of receptions in an 8-game season. 44 divided by 8, what's that, 5 receptions a game? A little bit more than 5 receptions a game average. That's crazy. He should not be catching that many passes if you know that he's the guy. And third guy I'm going to go with, trying to decide out of 2 guys. I'm going to go with, because I know you're going to say the other guy. I'm going to go with Trevor Vasey.
Okay.
Now, I looked at stats now, and Trevor Vasey this is what's interesting about him. He has 27 receptions. It's like half of what Lou DeBow has. But he has 465 yards, 7 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns on 27 receptions. Quick math. Every 4 catches he makes is a touchdown. Because if it was 28 divided by 7 is 4. So every 4 times he makes a catch, it's a touchdown. If that ain't efficient, I don't know what is. That's crazy. And it goes back to what I said last show about him and that fade ball in the red zone. What is he, 6'4", 6'5"? Easy work.
he's tall. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's a giant.
easy work for him. But he's been really efficient. But he's running routes. Like I know he only has 27 receptions, but he's on the field a lot. And this is minus one game where he had to come in and play quarterback. They had one game where Thick Vic wasn't there, so he had to play quarterback in that game. So it
I
could
think
be.
whatever. It don't matter.
Oh,
Keep
what'd you
going.
say? Oh, I
No,
was gonna say
doesn't matter.
it could have been something more like 30 receptions, 8 touchdowns or something like that. Another 4 passes in another game if he had to play quarterback. So those are my 3. I went Josh Hicks, Lou DeBow, Trevor Vasey. Now, what are your 3?
I'm gonna have to cheat this one. I got to talk about the meat machines. You know what I mean? Because I love the receivers there. I love Sinai. I wish their receiver core could have had. They had 3 different quarterbacks throughout the whole season, so I know that makes things a little bit tough on them. But so I kind of how you guys do it on your podcast when it comes to American football film. Make sure you guys check that out when you can. I give a star to their group, but I definitely got to talk about my dog, even though he's not my dog for real. But Anton Bjork, love that guy. You know what I mean? I just love his swag. I love.
I left him for you. I'm just saying, I left him for you.
I know you had to do that. I love the energy on the field. I love that. Hey, Kyler, you my dog, but he stepped over top of you, bro.
The Allen Iverson on.
Boom. This is disrespectful though, but the audience like to see it. But if I was on the ground too, I'm probably fighting you too, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm fighting.
I'm going. Look, we live in the same city. I'm going to catch. All right, I'm going to Tillis. All right, I'm waiting at Tillis Home Central. He's going to be there someday. I'm going to get him. You know what I mean? We in the same city. It's not like you live down in Mount Mud. I can't do nothing about it besides go to your bus, and I might get kicked out. Still. But anyways, though, I wish I can give more credit to Kevin Borsay right now. He was a distance from the team, but came back. So I'm talking about him. So I would keep talking about him. I think if he'd have just been there throughout the whole season, maybe you need that little bit pause, that break away from the organization.
Can I throw out his stats? Because Kevin Borsay, I had him on there too, but I knew you were going to talk about him. Similar to Trevor Vasey, except even more efficient. 20 receptions, 6 touchdowns. So instead of every 3 times instead of every 4 times a touchdown, every 3 times a touchdown, pretty much.
Yeah.
Every 3 catches was a touchdown for this guy. And I said it last show, anyways. Is he just looked way better than everybody else. He just looked better than anybody that went against him. It's crazy.
Yeah, I wonder where number 9, the DB from Stockholm, is from, because he got an A on his head. I don't know if they picked him up in Stockholm or they flew him in, but Kevin was giving that boy busy work. Busy work. But lastly, I will end with this receiver, Landias, even though he's not at the top, he's not always on the field for some reason. And he did. I asked him yesterday, though, bro, what happened? Don't know if I ain't going to make it public knowledge, but yeah. Well, no. The second thing he told me about, I ain't going to make that public knowledge, but he said he had a concussion in the game. That's why he didn't finish the game. So I think anybody can know that information. But the other one, that'll be surprise for the playoffs. I won't spoil anything. But yeah, Linneas, Linneas.
Can I throw out his stats? 17 receptions, 409 yards, 6 tutties. So again, every 3 catches was a touchdown for this guy. He just didn't get a lot of reps.
Yeah, all the guys that I'm laying out right now who I described, Kevin Borsay, Anton Bjork, and Linneas, just explosive receivers. So those are the type of guys we love to see watching. When the ball is in the air and everybody can, you hear their guns, come here, new. That's they make the team excited. People love to see these players. Even the Stockholm players as well that I mentioned.
One thing I'll say is we finally have the stats, and I was kind of looking through the stats to see, players I think are good, do their stats match. It kind of goes back to what I said in my positives earlier. There's so many players playing. It's not there's not 1 or 2 guys that are getting the bulk. Even when we were talking about the running backs, we were saying hey, he's splitting time, or hey, he's catching passes and rushing. The ball is going to so many players in this league. Even at the receiver point, a lot of the better receivers don't have a lot of receptions. because there's 3 or 4 really good receivers on every team. Like you named Stockholm earlier. I mean, you got Matthew Retzloff, Anton Blumgren, and then you got Miranda out there as well doing his very horrible gritty when he can. Like
Yeah.
that's not even the best receiving core this year. That was kind of like the average. And those are 3 really good receivers, and you have to spread the ball to them and a good running back most likely on almost every team. And so we're looking at a different, I would say, a different era in the Super Serien. Because if you're only playing 8 games, the stats aren't going to prove a lot of these great players right because there's just not
Yeah.
enough time. There's not enough game. There's not enough ball. Like you can only get, again, if you can get 5 catches a game, that's a lot. But most of these guys get 2, maybe 3 catches in a game each week, and they have to score on one of those. And the guys that you named and I named actually are scoring. You get 3 catches in the game and scoring a touchdown. That's
Alvin
unheard
Forsman
of.
is
Alvin Forsman.
He's an example.
That's another guy. Like that's what I'm saying. Like we're naming all these guys because they're all really good, but it kind of makes me go back to like the fact that they only play 8 games this year. There's just not enough time to really like separate a lot of the top from the top. Like there's no elite because there's only so many games you can play. And I feel like hopefully next year they move it up to like 10 regular season games. I think that'd be really good because I think 2 more weeks and we get a more even, like they play almost everybody or they should play everybody. So they get a little bit more, the stats would even out because some of these teams are playing certain teams more than once and some teams aren't, stuff like that. Offensive linemen, I don't know any of their names, man. I'm sorry. Do you?
Yeah. I mean, I know a couple of stock
as
players.
as a group, as a group, Karlstad O line, legit. I like it. Even when they lost, I wouldn't have blamed their O line. Like they lost the game that they lost. I think it was more about they had a lot of like turnovers that worked out, but it wasn't because like the quarterback was running for his life. Like Slade Jarman doesn't have to scramble. Like he just doesn't. So I think that's a credit to that O line. The second O line I would have behind them would be Orebro's O line. I feel like there was a few times where Thick Vic had to move, but it was more like, they had one really good player making a play. It wasn't like, this game he's constantly on the rush because they can't hold up. Like, okay, sometimes you play a good defensive end or a good defensive lineman that makes a play, and Thick Vic just steps him or runs. And a lot of times when Thick Vic had to run, it wasn't because he didn't have blocking. It was because the receivers weren't open. No offense to those receivers, but again, early in the season, they dropped a lot of passes for him as well. So I think those 2 O-lines were the 2 that impressed me. What about you? Any O-line look good to you? I know you're going to talk about Tiraso. So
I mean, now I'm not going to talk about Tiraso, actually, since you said that. I'm going to talk about Karlstad. Karlstad, man, I've been playing with Marco Gooding, for a long time, and I think I see they got some Brits on there. I don't know which position they are at. I'm not really looking at the O-line, but I just see Slade Jarman feeling comfortable, and I know he feels good with his O-line. What else I'm trying to say? I mean, yeah, of course, Tirso. I mean, Jay's able to move around. I don't think their O-line is super great, but I think they have a good they must have some good OC unless Jay brought his playbook over there and made some implements, but they just do a good job of being efficient with getting the job done. I feel like Karlstad probably exposed their O-line a bit in the first game, but ever since then they picked it up. And to be honest, I think Brew O-line is quite decent as well,
Yeah.
Just having a good back like JB, he's able to just maneuver. He's just super shifty and just can get through. And I would say with a lot of teams, who are being successful in offense, they just got the playmakers to maneuver if the O-line play isn't super good. I think Stockholm O-line finally did a little bit better, later in the season, but they wasn't very good. So I would just say step it up, next year, get some better players for the O-line.
Last position, we're not talking about it much, but specialist. I didn't see anyone that like stood out kicking wise to me, but again, I wasn't zeroed in on that. And then returner wise, I think
Honestly, I don't really
Double
know.
V had Double V had a kickoff return touchdown, right? Or was that this year?
Yeah,
Or maybe that was last year.
yeah, I remember. Yeah, last year he did it, but I think I did see him go coast on the left side of the field when I was watching the film. But I don't know if he got called back or not. I'm not really
Yeah,
sure.
but overall, like again, if we can't off the top of our head think of anything, then it hasn't been impressive. So no reason for us to overshoot it. I know AIK had some issues with their field goals because I think they almost lost a game or something because they missed a field goal earlier this
Oh,
season.
that's yeah. I remember Akina was talking about. Yeah, we lost a game against Tennessee because we couldn't make any field goals.
Yeah, couldn't make PATs. Like it's crazy. But other than that, I mean the teams that have went for field goals, it looks like there's a decent amount of them. They made them when they needed to. Most extra points were okay. Wasn't anybody that like stood out as a returner this year. I mean, they don't have an Alpha Jallo in the league, so it is what it is. So yeah, so that's all the positions. Hopefully, people enjoyed this. This was fun talking about it. Let's
Yeah,
get up out
it's
of here.
good talking about it. All right.
All right, that's it for this episode of Pro Football Sweden. Overtime. Anything you want to throw out there before we get on up out of here?
Related to stats or to playmakers or anything.
Anything. Anything. Overtime. Anything you want to talk about. Anything you want to let these people know before we get off this last broadcast.
Man, for some teams, it's off season, starting up soon. Take your break, 1 week, 2 weeks max. Start getting the training again. When I say take a break, don't do nothing for 2 weeks. Do something, but then start to get back in football mentality. As I said the last episode, Copenhagen Towers, come back. You guys put in a lot of fights. Again, I just got to reiterate this because I don't know if y'all gonna listen to the last one, but this one y'all might listen to. You guys put in a good fight against Kukons at the end of the season. You guys, actually, I think they got robbed of a touchdown as well. So they could have been, up. That offside kick was beautiful. You guys came to win. You know what I mean? That game, you guys didn't end up winning, but you guys win a lot of games. Don't think because you guys didn't win any games, you guys don't belong here. We made a lot of jokes about you guys throughout the season, but we men. That's what we do. Purvis talk. He's hard on me, all the time. Listen to the podcast. I'm like, bro, then I delete the message. I ain't saying nothing, That's how c'est la vie is like this sometimes, what else? Good luck to all the teams in the future who have in postseason. The guys who were 4-4, you guys were that close. You guys know what to do next year. Icor bring Josh Hicks back. He looked good in the blue,
Yeah, you do.
black and yeah, that black and yellow. He looked good in that.
1-3 look good on too. I like it.
That 1-3 look. Yeah, 88 went into this. Oh,
I think
it don't
so.
matter.
And I
I
think he
don't
was
know. I feel
supposed to be 88 for AIK,
Yeah.
but like I think him in jerseys, you never know.
Yeah, I'm thinking about making a return to the Super Seriens if somebody's thinking about Alpha Jalo for next year.
Hey, that would be nice. For me, I want to say this has been an interesting season. I know I usually have the most negatives because, again, coming from Finland, you know what it is. We got a system out there. We doing our thing. But I've always had like a special like place in my heart for Sweden and the football played there. And I feel like this season there was a dramatic shift in the actual play and competition. It it was more engaging to watch the games. The games were a little bit better, like actual better football, not just high scoring or people not playing well. Like players were playing better, so it looked really good. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for the Super Serien, especially next year. Not to give away anything, but I know there's going to be changes all over Europe, so it'll be interesting to see how the Super Serien, elevates the play. And outside of that, I know everybody's going on vacation in July. Everybody leaves or does whatever. But while you're on vacation, remember, you can still catch Jalo Juice in Finland with the Wausau Royals, who are undefeated right now. Heading into this weekend, they're undefeated, probably for the first time in a long time for the Wausau Royals. So if y'all want to, continue supporting PFS, watch that man on Ruutu. It's a subscription service. And if you don't have time to be watching, you again can always go to the American Football in Finland podcast. We're on YouTube and Spotify as well, and I'll be out there talking bad about his team as much as I can, as we do. Outside of that, I think we're good, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Good luck to the playoff teams this weekend. We'll be back next week again with probably a preview show for the championship game. So make sure you like, follow, and subscribe on all social channels at Pro Football Sweden. And we will see you next week. Deuces.